Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Audrey's Designs. It's Audrey here and you are at Audrey's Designs. You are welcome. If today's your first time coming across this channel, please do not forget to hit on the subscribe button. Also turn on post notification so that you get notified anytime I upload a new video. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. In our video today, we are going to be sewing a very beautiful top. It's very gorgeous, as you can see. So that you want to rock to any party that you have, you can learn it today. Without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. For this top, this is what I'm going to be needing. I need my fabric, I need the elastic that I'll use at the edge of the sleeves, and I need my safety pin that I'll use to insert my elastic. So right now I'll just go on to place my fabric and start with the cutting of the dress. I've gone ahead to place my fabric so that I can start drawing. Now we are first of all going to see the measurements that we need for this dress. I'll just go now on to draw. The length of this top is on 20 inches. I'll be placing 21.5 inches because I need some allowance to sew. But I'm not coming right up to the top of the up because, as you can see, it's called a -5 inches top. I'll go on to mark 5 inches out of the normal. Then I go on to draw my bust line. My bust line from the waistline is still going to maintain the same 9 inches which we use. So knowing that I've already taken out 5 inches, I'll just be adding down 4 inches, which will give me 9. And then I go on to mark. I use my ruler to draw out the line. Now for my bust measurement, I have a bust of 37 inches. When I divide by 4, it's going to give me 9 1/4. I mark 9 1/4, and then I go on to add my 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance. At the bottom, I have a measurement of 30 inches. When I divide by 4, it's going to give me 7.5. I mark 7.5 and I go ahead to put 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance as well. Then I go on to use my ruler to connect the two lines from the bust line to the waistline. Now I come to the neck of the dress. Since I do not want the neck of my top to be too open, I'm just going to place it on 4.5 inches so that it's not going to be I'll place it on 5 inches so that it's not going to be too open. Then I'll go on now to deepen it. I'm just going to be deepening on 1.5 inch, keeping in mind that there are 5 inches that have to continue up. Now I come to my shoulder line and I'll just draw my line first from where my neck ends to my bust line. Then I'll go on to curve it a little bit. I curve, but I do not curve too much. And that is what I have. I know that when I do the hands and fit them, the sleeves are going to help to extend from this measurement that we have to the complete length of the neck. So right now, I'm just going on ahead to cut. Now I've placed my fabric to cut out the back part. I go ahead to bring out the zipper allowance. So that's my zipper allowance. It's 1.5 inch that I've marked throughout. I'll just take the front part of the dress and place on it. I'll go ahead to cut it out as well. So this is what I have for the front and the back part. I'm just going ahead now to cut out the sleeves of this dress. I've gone ahead and placed my fabric so that I can bring out the sleeves of this top. And as you can see, I folded my fabric into 4. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that I can bring out both sleeves at once. For the length of these sleeves, I have a measurement of 15 inches, but I'm going to go on to put it on 20 so that I can fold it and it will come up well. When I fold it and it comes up, it's going to help to bring out the puff perfectly well. Then for the size of these sleeves, as you can see, the sleeves are really puffed, so I'm going to go ahead to put mine on 13 inches so that I can really bring out my puff. Then I go on to add my allowance. Here I know that I had minus 5 inches from the body of the top. Now I'll go on to add the 5 inches. When I add my allowance, which I'm going to be using to make the gathers, which are at the top of the sleeves. And for that allowance, I'm also going to be adding 5 inches. So I've added my 5 inches here as well. Then I put my allowance that I'll use to stitch. Now I go on to draw the line so that I do not get confused, and then I connect the line with this one here. When I connect my line from here, I'm just going to take a straight line because I know that I want to bring out a very puffy sleeve at the end of this sleeve. So it's as simple as this. I'll use my 5 inches here to extend, then I'll use the rest to do the gathers for the dress. And this is all about the sleeves of the top. I'll just go on now to cut the sleeves. Now to the design which we have at the neck. It's just a small band, so I'll just be cutting a straight piece. I do not need to measure it for now because when I'll be feeding it into the dress, I'll know the length at that time and cut it. So right now I'll just cut a straight piece of 1.5 centimeter, which I've already folded, so that when I'll sew, it's going to end on 1 inch. So this is what I have. When I fold it and sew it, it's going to give me the size that I need. And now moving on to cut the facings of the neck of this top. I do not need much fabric, so I'll just use this small fabric that I have here to bring out the facing. So I go on to fold it. Then I take the neck of my top and place on it and cut it out. So this is what I have. I'll go on to cut out the same facing for the back part. For the facings that I'll need at the sleeves, I just need a straight fabric which is about 15 inches long. So I'll just go on to fold my fabric like this so that I can cut for both sleeves and then just cut. So I just need a straight piece, which is what I'm going to be cutting right now. So this is it. I'm done bringing out the facing for the sleeves and also the ones that I'll use at the neck. That is the end for the drafting of the pattern and cutting of my top. I'll just go now on to sew the top. These are all the parts of my top cut completely already. This is everything that I need. These are the sleeves and I have my top. So right now I'm going to start sewing. To sew this top, the first thing I'll do is to hold the dart before turning the facings on the neckline. This is because the dart has to start right from the neckline. So I'll go on to first of all draw my dart and hold. For my dart, the first thing I'll do is that I come to this point which is sharp, the end, and I fold my fabric into 2. Then I'll go on now to iron it out to a straight line. After ironing, this is what I have. So I'll come up at this top and I'll measure 3/4 inch and mark, and then I'll draw a V line to my bust line because my bust line is here. So I'll draw a V to the bust line and then I'll come now down and draw another line. I measure 3/4 inch at the bottom here as well Then I'll use my ruler to complete the line. So this is what I'm going to be stitching here, and I'll do the same on this other side. I'll just head on to my machine to sew these lines the way I have drawn them. I'm done sewing the dart for the frontal section of my dress. So this is what it looks like on the good side. Now I'll go ahead to do the dart for the back part. The dart behind is not going to be like that in front. This is the back part. For the dart behind, what I do is that I'll come here and measure 4.5 inches. I mark the point of 4.5 inch, and from the bottom upward I mark 7 inches. Then I'll go now on to fold it at this point, and then I'll do a V line. So this is what I have. I'll just go now onto my machine and I'm going to sew it out the way I've drawn it, and I'll do so for both sides. I've sewn my dart for the back part already. This is what it looks like on the good side. Now I'll just go on to turn the neckline with the facings that I have. So I'll start with the one in front. So this is the facing that I had cut earlier. I'll just place it first. This is the good side. I place it on the good side, and then I'll go on to stitch it, and I'll stitch same for the back part of the dress. When I finish stitching my facings, this is the back side as I've stitched it already. Now I'll just turn it over to this side. I iron it out, and then I'll go onto my machine and sew a line so that it can lie down straight. So that's just what I'm going to do right now for both the front and the back. On the back, this is what I have. So I'll bend it out like this, then go to my machine, sew as well, and then iron it out. Now that I've stitched my dart and also stitched my neckline, this is the neckline. You can see how smooth it looks right now. I'll go on first of all to bend the under of this dress. So I'll just go on to do like this, just 1 inch of allowance which I kept at the bottom. So I'll just bend it out, iron it with my iron, then go ahead to sew straight lines. After ironing, this is what I have. So now I'll just go on to sew a straight line, and for the back part I'll also go ahead to sew a straight line. And after bending, this is what I have at the bottom. You can see that it already looks smooth, and same for the back part. Now I'll just go ahead to insert the zipper of my dress. So I need just the back part to insert the zipper as I normally do. For my zipper, the first thing I'll do is to take the back part one side, and then I place the zipper on it at the exact edge of my material, and I make sure that I use the 1.5 inch which I had kept for my zipper allowance. I have to use it all. And this is my zipper already inserted. I hope you follow the process and you now see how we insert the zipper. I'll go now to the next part of my dress, which is joining the sides of the top. Moving on to the sides of this top, the bust is 36 inches. So I'll measure what I have here. 36 divided by 2 is 18. What I have here is 21. So I'm going to be sewing 2 inches on each side to make it 21 inches. For my waist, I have a waist of 30 inches, and here I have 17, so I'm going to be sewing 1 inch on both sides. So now I'll just go on to follow these lines and sew a straight line, as you can see that I've already drawn, because I've already divided my measurements and drawn them out. I just need to sew the lines. And after joining the sides as I've done already, I'll keep this aside and go on to do the sleeves of this top. For the sleeves of this top, first thing I'll do is to go on to make pleats on this top, making sure that it ends at 12 inches, because since I had done a minus of 5, I need half an inch on both sides for the sewing allowance, and a minus of 5 for the front and the back equals 10. And then down here I'll go on to do pleats, tiny pleats all around, making sure that it's going to end at 12 inches as well, because the arm round is on 12 inches. So that's what I'll be doing right now with my iron. So this is my 12 inches here. You can see that the pleats are mainly at the center, but for the lower section the pleats will not be mainly at the center. The pleats will be scattered throughout the dress. So I'll just go on now to my machine and sew these pleats as you see them lying here. These are the pleats which I've done. This one on the upper side and this is the one on the lower section. You can see it. This is the good side. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do right now is to fold this in such a way that my elastic can pass in. So I'll just go now to sew a line while keeping some space where I'm going to pass in my elastic. And when I'm sewing my line, I make sure that I maintain my pleats in position so that they do not get scattered. I need to put an elastic in here so that the dress can be able to extend and pass through the person's arm, whoever is wearing it. After sewing my line, as I've already done here now, I'll go on to insert my elastic. I'll use my safety pin to send it in. So I come to the side here after inserting it to my safety pin, and I just start sending it in till it reaches the other side. I've put in the elastic already, as you can see. This is it. So I've gone ahead on my machine and stitched this point so that it doesn't pull back. So this is what I have for my sleeves. What I'll do now is to turn the facings on this side the same as I did on the neck. So it's just basically sewing the line with the fabric. And this is the fabric for my facings I had cut earlier on in the video. So I'll just go on to sew a line and then stitch it and sew on the other side as I did when I was doing the neckline of the dress. It's a continuation of the neckline, so I'll be doing the same thing. I've done the facings already. As you can see, this is what it looks like on the good side. So I can say I'm done doing my sleeve. What I'll do right now is to go on to stitch the sides of the sleeve, and then I'll be able to attach it on the body of the top. So I'll just go now on to stitch the side according to how the body is and then attach it on the body. First of all, before I join, I'll come to the body of my top, which I had already done. This is it. And I measure the distance from this point, from one neckline to the other neckline. That's from the neckline behind to that in front. This is going to give me the armhole of the dress, and it's on 12 inches. So I'll come here. When joining, I make sure that it's also going to be on 12 inches. As I folded into two, I need it to be on 6 inches, so I mark 6 inches from that point at the start, and this is my mark here. Then I'll go on now to sew it straight till the end. So after stitching it out, I'll just go now on to my top and insert it there. So this is it. I take the one on the sleeve and I place at this point, and I make sure that I stitch till the end. So this is the end point. The two are on the same position. So this this is what I have for this sleeve. Now I'll go on ahead to do that for the other sleeve, the same as I've done for this sleeve already. And finally, when I'm done feeding the hands, for the last part of this top, which is a design which we have in front, is just a tiny rope. So I'll go on to sew this rope, which is right now on the bad side, and then turn it to the good side and feed it in. So this is the band which I'll use to make the design already stitched and ironed out. I'll just go now to my top and place it on it. So this is my top after I've stitched in the sleeves, and this is the front part, as you can see, because the zipper is always behind and the design is on the front. So I'll place it like this and like this. I use my pins to hold out these points, then I'll just go to my machine and sew out those points. So these are the points which I've put in place. I'll go to my machine, sew a line here and sew another one here, and that will be the final thing that I have to do on this top. I'll come and show you how it looks like and on the good side. This is what I have after stitching it on the top. So now I'll go on to turn it to the good side so that we'll see how it looks like. So this is the top completely sewn. Everything is already done. You can see the sleeves, the way they are puffy, and the body and the design which we have at the top. Now I'll just iron it out, and that is the final thing that I have to do. So this is our top. If you've learned something from this video and you are still here right now, then please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. Also hit on the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications so that you get notified anytime I upload a new video. And I will definitely see you in our next tutorial. Bye guys.